welcome back to the channel. Today I am accompanied by silly Nolar, and we're going to be doing a discussion video basically about the marketing strategy of Dokkan Battle and the Dragon Ball franchise in itself. You know, with all the recent blunders, for example, like the Heroes banner was basically leaked out an hour before and just nonsense like that. But without further ado, how are you doing today, man? It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on the channel. Appreciate it. I'm good. I'm good. Things are pretty good right now, and yeah, it's gonna be head scratching to talk about some of these points. So
Yeah. So some that come to mind, it's for example, 5th year anniversary, right?
yeah,
Dude, how much of a blunder is that one? We are all like, hey, like this is like, we're all anticipating Vegito and Gogeta. I remember everybody was like on Reddit, Twitter talking about it, and then they drop a data download. Do you think they do that for a reason?
Okay, so they what this is what I mean to say is when they do stuff like that, they don't do it by accident. They purposefully do it. So dropping it a couple hours before or whenever it was on purpose. And I think, and for them, obviously, when the live stream happened, then the banners went live right after the live stream ended, right? So they had to, in their mind, drop the data download a couple hours before, just to make sure that things ran smoothly. There was no corruption of files or something there where they had, or the app update didn't work, or whatever the case may be. They wanted to make sure things run smoothly so that, hey, the hype part is we have the stream, and then guys, go summon right now. And literally that's what happened, right? So
Yeah. It is.
And that's the thing is, like, data downloads are interesting because when a data download happens, if I was a general player and didn't like follow Reddit, didn't follow Twitter or watch any of the YouTubers, I'd be like, oh, that means a new unit's coming. Cool. So let's just wait and see. And then when the banners drop, they're like, oh my god, like it's Gogeta, it's Vegito, look at these banners, are crazy. But us who are very connected to, the scene and the community, once a data download happens, then we wait for like Hydros to do Trident and all that stuff, and get some showcases and translations and stuff like that. So honestly, to us, it seems like a stupid move. In retrospect, it seems like a stupid move because, like, oh wait, why would you do the data download? The data miners can get the info, and we'll get all the info before you do your live stream. But again, we are like 5% of the community. We're super connected.
Hey, it's true.
Look at how many people play the game, right? How many people download the game, but how many of them watch Reddit, watch YouTubers, are on Twitter, on Facebook? Like, not a lot of them are super connected. A good chunk of them are just casual gamers who just play, like, and they want to collect the units that they pull.
No, it's true. No, you're 100% right. It's a lot more of the casual players also play Dokkan Battle, and then of course you have us who do spend a bit more time in the game. But in terms of marketing, right? Do you think it actually hurts them to do stuff like that? Because, like, for example, I remember when that happened. I just remember, like, there was a huge disappointment when the Blue Fusions were in the day. Like, everybody was like, why did you guys do that? Or, like, for example, Worldwide Celebration, they had the announcement planned, and then they're like, okay, we're just gonna throw them in the data, like, what was it, like a day or two earlier?
Yeah.
That was crazy. It's like, in a way, I kind of see the PR move. It's like to get people talking about it. But at the same time, they're taking away the excitement from their own announcements. Like, for example, tomorrow with Legends, we already know what it is.
Right.
It kind of takes away the fun, I guess. Why do you think they do that for?
Yeah,
it's a
I
bit
don't
weird.
think it's weird, and like you're right because wait, when did you start playing Dokkan again?
I started playing when the the first UI Goku banner came out on JP.
Okay, so we still had data downloads and data miners then. I'm talking like year before year one, when we didn't have data miners. Like you just check in the news and you'd be like, oh my gosh, Strength Broly's coming. Like, oh man, he's gonna be good. And then they say like he's gonna be an attack all unit. Like, what does that mean? Is he like an AoE unit? Like, back then, without the data miners, it was super hype, and it really like, when you're hype for something, your judgment is way off. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
true. It is true.
you read the kits and you're like, oh my god, he's so good. He's so good. Look at UI Goku. He has a high chance to dodge. And then you actually play with him, and if he gets hit with no defense, you're pretty practically dead.
Yeah.
So, and then the reason why I mentioned UI Goku is because in Japan, when the episode aired, I forgot what number that was. When he first goes Omen.
I think it was like 111 or something in the 110s.
Like, yeah, 108,
maybe
110.
109, maybe 109 and 110.
Yeah, so you guys can let us know in the comments below which one it was. But
yeah,
right when that episode aired, it was announced right away, like an hour later in Dokkan, that he was coming, and then the next day he was out. You know, and so like
that was hype,
that was super hype, right? And the thing was, there was no data. I mean, we had data downloads then, but then just everyone was so hyped on the marketing of like, oh my god, UI Goku was just in the anime and he's in the game now. Holy crap! Like, I gotta summon. And like, if you get the hype that crazy, the blinders are on. You don't really analyze and judge the kit. You're just like, I just want the unit. You know what I mean? So for them to throw out those data downloads early, like a day or two before it comes out, yeah, that kind of kills the hype because, you know, yeah, sure, I'm hyped for BoJack when he's coming out next month. But then if the data download comes and then, you know, Hydros or Truth do their showcases, and I look at their kit and actually see it in action, I might be a little disappointed and be like, I don't know, I don't want to summon. Obviously, I'm going to summon, but if I was an average player, I'd be like, yeah, that's not going to work. Or it could go the other way too, where it's like, oh my god, he's so good, I got to have him. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where if you do the data download early with the data miners, that kind of ruins your marketing. But if you never had the data download early, and the people just saw the hype that is the unit, and like they used their nostalgia to fill in their preconceived notions of how good a unit might be, then there is absolutely no way that they would lose out on that. You know what I mean? Their marketing would be much better that way. But the fact that they do these data downloads early, I guess now they're just on a clock. You know, they're just routine for them, where they're like, okay, we'll do it a little bit early. I'll make sure everything's good with the code, and then go from there. But in the terms of marketing, I 100% agree with you. It's just head scratching.
Yeah, and it's not just with Dokkan, right? You know, the Dragon Ball Heroes live stream did the same thing. An hour before, they updated the website with the actual Dokkan portion, which is crazy. It was on the actual website, if you guys weren't aware, that's where the screenshot came from. And like, that was crazy. And then you have other instances with like Toei Animation, like the first time Vegeta Blue was going to be in Super, they showed him in the preview for the next episode. The same with UI Goku. Like they've done this over and over and over. So to me, it's like, is their strategy idea it's to get people talking about it before it comes out? Or like, what is it? Because like, there's a reason why they do it. It's the same reason why Legends did it. To them, it's a PR move. You know, they could see it as, you know, if people start talking about it now, people are going to be aware of it. But how I'm seeing it, it's like, look, let's say we didn't know about BoJack coming, or we didn't know about the Blue Fusions coming. Imagine a night before, no matter how, like, what their kit was, it just drops on us. Like, they drop it in the news, like, hey, you know, Vegeta Blue's coming. We don't know anything about the kit. How many more people are going to summon not knowing what the kit is? Just from pure hype till that day.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
That's how I'm seeing
I want to agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, though, like, now that you mention it, okay, so Vegeta Blue is in the anime. In the preview, you're like, okay, why did you ruin the hypest moment that there is, right?
Yeah.
And then same with UI Goku. They did the same thing with Broly and Gogeta.
Same thing
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Dude, remember that? I remember watching that trailer of them showing Gogeta beforehand, like a month before. Like someone leaked it. They leaked Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and they leaked Broly, and it was crazy. It was like, what? Who's like? I want to know if it's someone intentionally doing it or if it's like mess ups. But it's been too much of a coincidence at this point. I think it's like, realistically, this is Dragon Ball's IP's marketing strategy. How do you see that?
Well, I think it's not. I think you got to look a little more outside of that, because I think it's just a JP thing, honestly. Because you got to remember, JP, the global version of Dokkan, still run by a Japanese team in Japan, but they just run the global version, right? So I think it's a cultural thing with Japanese people. They just don't care about spoilers and anything like that, right? Because I remember when I talked to Talon, he's like, "Oh yeah, I already know it's Gogeta Blue and Broly." I'm like, is that normal? He's like, yeah, nobody cares. So my question to you
that's a
then,
good
because
point.
you consume other, you watch more anime and I play more gacha games than you do, but you watch more anime than I do. Is that something prevalent in other IPs where they'll just spoil it, but
So let me think about like shonens, for example, because shonens would be a good testament of that. Most of them are pretty good about covering things up. Like they'll hype it up. Like for Hunter x Hunter,
yeah,
like Gon had a huge transformation during the Chimera Ant arc, which in the preview they kind of showed it like like mid transformation, but they didn't show you the full thing. Like they hype you up
right,
enough
okay,
where it's like, okay, something big's happening, but they don't show you what it is, and that's kind of like
right,
the difference I've noticed with like shonens. Like same thing with like Attack on Titan. Like when Aaron transformed for the first time in the preview, they showed him, getting angry and something like smoke was coming out, but they don't show you what it is.
what it is, okay,
While like in Dragon Ball, which you do bring up a good point, because maybe that's just American audiences with Hollywood. Like Hollywood's taught us that people love,
yeah,
that anticipation,
mystery,
that mystery.
yeah,
But it's a cool thing that you brought that up, because recently a lot of movie trailers actually show you the best parts of movies now. I know
yes,
it's kind of going
yeah,
a bit away from the discussion, but maybe it's just like a modern day thing. Like this is just the future of advertisement. It's like to give people like that they want to get that first minute of you. Like you're super hyped. It's just like YouTube videos. Like if your first minute doesn't get the person, they're leaving. Maybe that's
yeah.
like their mindset now. And like, anime, Dragon Ball, and Toei noticed that and they started doing it too. I don't know. It's very odd to me how
Well,
a lot of these companies are doing that.
yeah, I mean, with the Hollywood stuff, so what you're talking about is trailers for movies,
Yeah, mainly
right?
trailers that they'll show you like the big boss fight, like during the trailer type of stuff.
All right, so here's the difference, because I follow, well, there's no movies coming out now, but I usually follow the movie industry a lot, and
Okay.
when a movie is made, they give it to a separate company that cuts the trailer. And so the company that's cutting the trailer has no context of what the hell is going on in terms of the story. They just look for good moments to cut together with whatever specific music they have in house.
Okay.
And so, like, when people complain, like, I just saw the whole movie in that trailer, and then you'll hear something like, well, the director's pissed off because the trailer house cut up the entire movie in 2 minutes and like summed it up. So why would people ever go watch it? Like the director's pissed. He didn't mean for that to happen. They just literally left hand and right hand. The right hand gave stuff to the left hand and doesn't know what's going on, and the left hand which is the trailer in this case, trailer house. They're cutting up the movie so that to anticipate people to come in, like entice them, like, hey, look at this hype moment, blah blah blah. When to the director and the storytellers, like, you just told us the biggest moment. Like,
Yeah,
why
okay,
the hell did you
saying.
do that, right? So, and when it comes to the anime, I could see that happening where potentially like one anime production house. Again, I don't know much about this, so I could be talking completely out of my ass.
No,
here,
no, but it
could
could be very close to what your point is. Maybe
Right, so-
maybe Toei has another studio that just does the PR stuff.
Right, the trailer stuff, and they're just
Yeah,
like, look,
yeah.
we're just looking for the hypest moments, and just the 1-2 frames of Vegito Blue. That's cool. When the people who are writing the story is like, no, why would you give it away? And well, too late. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And again, to my point of the culture, the Japanese culture is maybe they just don't care about spoilers at all, and they'll just be like, okay, cool. So I kind of know what's going on, but I don't know how it developed.
Yeah.
I'm more interested to see how we got to the transformation, we got to this fight, this climax, as opposed to what was the climax. You know what I mean? So it might be just a different cultural, point of view of how to see the context of the story. So it could be that, might not be. Maybe they just don't care at all. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah. It is weird.
to us as an American audience, it seems weird, right? Like that's the biggest thing, is like that might be just a cultural thing. That's my main point.
Yeah, no, and then I'm glad you brought that up, because it could be just the culture, and maybe from our perspective as content creators, we see it like, okay, well, this is kind of silly, because you're kind of taking away okay, I guess before I go and say like they're taking away from themselves, they're actually kind of helping us in a way. And ultimately, their
Yep.
blunders help us with news videos, with discussion
Yes.
videos.
Yes.
Like this video is formed from one of them. And I don't necessarily think they're looking out for content creators, but it definitely does help us in some regards. Like you mentioned, tried it. Goresh coming up with the translations, stuff like that. But at the same time, I look at different communities like Bleach Brave Souls. They don't get data downloads like that. Not till
That's
like
true.
like a day and a half before. And well, Bleach is way, it's not even significantly as high as Dokkan, but they like their community gets so hyped during those moments, like during those live streams, those weekly episodes that they do at K-Lab Station. People get crazy about that, and then I just see Dokkan,
Yeah.
and I generally feel bad for Dokkan sometimes, right? I see like people in the chat saying, "Oh, we already know what it is. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this isn't cool. Who's this guy?" And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like what kind of bums me out a little bit. It's more about these guys that, like you mentioned, it might not even be their issue, like their problem. Like these guys, like the PR guys, might not have any say in those data downloads.
Yeah. And they're just like, well, we just got to roll the punches because someone let the button loose, or maybe like now at this point, I feel like it's like routine for them. Like I mentioned before, is like,
Yeah.
okay, this is gonna happen. Maybe only 5% of our player base will care that we let it out early, but the other 95% don't know, and they'll still be hyped from what we have to say. So we'll just ignore the 5%. Like if I were Bandai, if I was Akatsuki, and I was doing a live stream, and I put the data download like a day early, I would just turn off comments on that live stream. You know what I mean?
I wish it
I would
had
just
been.
turn off
I think Legends has
Yeah.
been. Smart
Yeah,
move
so
from
like
them.
exactly, like that's what they need to do, where they need to be more self-aware of what they're doing. And again, it might be like my point before, a culture thing where they're just like, oh, well, we don't care. Why do the Western audience care that much? And maybe now they're starting to see like, okay, this game isn't just for the Eastern culture, Japanese culture. It's a global game, so we have to take global viewpoints into consideration. And of course, remember, you got to remember, guys, at the end of the day, they're a business. They're trying to maximize their dollar. And if, or yen in that case, if whatever opportunity they can get one more cent out of you or one more yen, they're going to do it. So you just got to remember, some of these moves are deliberate. And
yeah. So a closing
to us, that might be stupid. So yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. No. So basically, just to wrap it up, in your honest opinion, right? Do you think it's beneficial? Like, what do you think they would get more money on? Because you're right, it is a business move. But and since you are actually a leader of a business now, with your you are, and all the super core guys, including yourself. I mean, you're a huge funder of that. Would you ever think like, can you put yourself in their shoes for a second and try seeing like what would benefit you for doing that, right? Like, what money do you see that they could possibly be getting more of by spoiling their own content? It's kind of hard to think that. Like, I just want to kind of understand their mindset a little bit on that, because they have to have a mindset. There's a reason why they do it. I just can't think of any reason.
The only thing I could even remotely think about is just the fact that people are having it revealed would just start the discussion, and then get the word buzzing around. So like this is what I mean by, I think the JP audience just doesn't care about the reveal. Like we care about what is the climax. Some of them is just like, okay, how did we get here? Like why is Vegito Blue such a big deal? Why is Gogeta Blue so huge? Like what happened in the first hour and a half of the story to get us here? So in my mind, it's more like they try to stir a discussion piece and make their game or their anime, their IP trending in that regard, just to get people going, as opposed to like, I think they value that more than say, oh my god, that reveal for Vegito Blue is so crazy. That kind of like burst of social media presence. I think that's where they value more. I don't agree with that, personally speaking, because I think having the oh my god people that was so crazy just generates even more hype and puts the blinders on to like buy your next item. You know what I mean? Like that's my psychology. But to them, that's not what they want to do. So like it's just they view the discussion, the generating part of the reveal as valuable enough for them to do it. to piss off the 5% of the people, but the 95 other percent will just be like, oh, that's cool. Let's talk about it and let's see. Are you interested? Are you gonna sell? Are you gonna buy it? Are you gonna summon? Like those are the questions that they kind of want to keep pushing out there, as opposed to like, why did you do that? You just ruined my hype, which is only like maybe 3 to 5% of their viewership or player base. So
yeah, no, that's a good that is really good to close it off there, because it's true. We are such a small percentage, right? There's not a million content creators. It's about maybe like 100 of us that consistently, constantly post about the game, and there's over 350 million players. Downloads, active players, it's nothing to that. But regardless, we're just a portion, and we don't see the bigger picture from these guys. So I could definitely see what you're saying. So it could go either way. And man, dude, thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of insight, being able to talk to you about this topic, because I feel like it's a topic that a lot of people talk about, and it's more in a negative light. And I think we did a pretty good job at seeing both sides of it. So I do really appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it. Always love having discussion pieces. It's a lot of fun. It's just when I've got the time. That's it.
yeah. Nolar's been a busy guy, guys. So definitely give 5-9 some love. Give his channel some love. And again, thanks so much for coming on. And guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments below your thoughts. Do you think it's a good PR move, or is it a bad one? Let us know and all that goodness. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody, and peace out.
See ya.